cops that cops called when they need help come from the emergency service unit. Today, they're trained not only by rescue and weapons experts, but by psychiatrists, too. One of the stories in an hour devoted to the science of emergencies. We'll also see an ant rescue squad called by caterpillars in trouble. How a murder was solved by taking the fingerprints of a tree. And we'll watch airplane engines explode and cars crash to make both safer. I'm Alan Alda. Join me for a special emergency edition of Scientific American Frontiers.
GTE brings you more than the power of telecommunications products and services. A grant from GTE also brings you the power of a new world in Scientific American Frontiers.
Today, the leading cause of death for Americans under the age of 34 isn't guns or disease or drowning or fires. It's this. Automobile accidents kill 40,000 Americans a year. And here at the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety in rural Virginia, engineers are trying to cut that number by making cars safer, testing anti-lock braking systems, for example, that reduce the danger of skidding on slippery roads. You know, until I saw you do that, I never realized how important anti-lock brakes are.
It's quite a dramatic difference.
Yeah. You're able to spin around in this car out here, and it's really impressive. What's the relationship between what you do out here and what you do inside?
Well, outside we're trying to prevent accidents, and inside we're looking at the injuries that occur in accidents and trying to prevent them.
Christina Estep is an engineer here. Her main job is caring for the Institute's dummies. Though perhaps caring for isn't quite the way to put it. These dummies are the frontline troops of crash safety research. Men, women, and children made of plastic and metal, whose job it is to be as much like us as possible, without the pain. What's this one in particular, though?
This is the thorax impact test, where we take a 50-pound pendulum and swing it into the thorax and make sure that the dummy's ribs compress the way they're designed to compress.
Every dummy has to go through this harsh physical exam before it gets its next assignment. What did you get?
We got the correct velocity, the correct resistive force. The internal hysteresis is okay, but our sternum displacement seems to be a little high.
Christina can tell all this because under his rubber skin, the dummy has metal bones and ribs that are fitted with sensors measuring force and acceleration. There's even an onboard memory to record what happened. So that's where you collect the data right in there.
Right.
How heavy is this guy?
About 172 pounds.
This is your average male dummy, but they come in all sizes, sexes, and ages. He'd get this hook onto his arm.
Right.
Each dummy costs $250,000.
There we go.
Even his legs and arms are able to record whatever happens to them. Hold this one. Well, we're just going for a little ride. I think you'll enjoy this. This is the dummy's reason for being, of course. To sit in for real people during a crash test. Here, 30 miles an hour into a concrete wall. The government mandates this test for all new cars. And today's cars do well in it. The structure under the hood is designed to absorb the energy of the impact of the crash across the whole front of the vehicle. There's just one big problem. How often does that occur in real life?
It's a very rare event in the real world. The kind of damage you see in a flat barrier crash, you virtually never see in the real world.
This is what you get. This is the real world crash. Here's the car we were looking at and the crash it was in. Not quite real world because it happened here on the Institute's brand new indoor crash track. But this sort of two-car collision, where the vehicles hit off-center, is a common kind of accident on America's roads and causes very different damage than the flat barrier test that the government mandates.
What does this do to you that the front-end barrier crash doesn't do?
Well, if we move back here, the main thing it does is it loads the structure in different places than the flat barrier, which loads the whole of the front end. Because we get localized loading, that means we've got much more potential for deformation. If you look at where the foot would be and you think about the situation where you've jammed on the brakes just before an accident, you're pushing hard in one direction and the floor is coming up and buckling and tending to want to capture and trap your leg down in there, and we are seeing very serious leg injuries, ankle injuries, multiple fractures in serious frontal crashes from this kind of intrusion where the safety cage is in effect failing.
The irony is that it's only because of the success of the flat barrier test in helping develop seat belts and airbags that these lower limb injuries are coming to light.
We're eliminating a large number of the upper body injuries, a lot of the injuries that cause death.
But now we're suddenly faced with these lower body injuries, and those we have to live with those now. Previously, we wouldn't. The injury would be so great we wouldn't have had to live with it.
That's correct.
He's all set to go.
Should be ready to go.
So the new assignment for the dummies and engineers here is to come up with a crash test that car makers can use to help reduce the lower body injuries caused by typical head-on crashes. But because crashing two cars in a standardized test is difficult and expensive, they're trying to give the dummy the experience of a two-car crash using only one.
Okay. What can you find out from this screen here?
This is the plot of the Y moment. And this is
Plot of the Y moment.
the Y moment of his head. This is the pitch
I see.
of his head. Right.
So
if you pushed his head backwards, you could see that
But
in
push
this
it
graph.
backwards.
Yes. And
No,
forward.
but actually during the crash, it'll probably go like that, right?
Today's test crash will be run at 40 miles an hour. It's the first time they've gone this fast, and no one is quite sure how the car or dummy will do. To get up to speed, they need an approach the length of a football field. The car has been drained of gas to reduce the risk of fire, so it will be towed down the track by a cable that accelerates the car to exactly the right speed.
So if we're seeing a 40-mile-an-hour crash, then the specifications are that it should be within 39.9 or 40.1 miles an hour. Okay, we're almost ready.
Every crash is filmed in slow motion. The barrier has a deformable face that acts like the hood of the other car. Milliseconds later, the test car hits the steel barrier and pivots around. From above, the single car crash does appear to cause the same sort of damage as a car-to-car collision. The big question, of course, is how our friendly dummy made out.
See how this knee, the knees are jammed up here against the dashboard. In fact, this whole dashboard is moved back. You see how it's distorted? There's been tremendous force applied to the lower leg. Certainly one would anticipate significant knee and leg injuries. That would be my guess. But the reason we take all of the measurements is we don't guess.
Yeah.
We're going to use the data to tell us.
Christina and her colleague Dave Zuby get their first quick look at the data.
And if this was a person, did the person survive?
Based on what we've seen so far, he probably survived. We can check in just a second here to see what kind of loads were acting on his legs. As one might guess, he may very well have suffered severe lower leg fractures and other debilitating injuries, if not life-threatening.
Now you have to get this dummy back in the lab and fix him up and make him ready for the next crash.
Prep him for the next one.
What a life.
As these tests go on, car makers are working on designs that will help prevent leg injuries. One way is to strengthen the footwell with thicker and stiffer materials. Another idea is to add a crosspiece between the structural members up front. When one side is hit, this crosspiece redirects the force, which now increases the car's spin instead of heading into the passenger cabin. Meanwhile, engineers and dummies continue their collaboration.
Christina, you work with these dummies all the time, and you observe them during these crashes. When you're in the car driving, does this go through your head? Do you ever think about this?
I've adjusted my headrest. I have slowed down my driving speed. It makes an impact.
To put it
No pun intended.
The rainforests of Panama, serene and beautiful. But it's a jungle out here. And these are some of the biggest heavies around. Ants will take on practically anything, from vicious wasps that like to lay their eggs in the living bodies of their victims, to lightning-quick poisonous spiders. Phil DeVries has been investigating a tangled web of jungle relationships, involving murder, protection rackets, payoffs, and secret messages. And at the heart of the story, ants.
If you think about ants, whether you're going out on a picnic, everyone knows that, well, as soon as you put down the food, the ants come and you start complaining because the ants are biting you and stinging you. And that's just typical of ants. Ants don't like to associate with other species.
Every crime story needs a victim. And in this case, it's a caterpillar. These juicy prizes are often the targets of jungle predators, so they adopt defenses, like masquerading as a dead leaf, or rolling up a leaf to make an armored shield. Or growing poisonous spines that predators learn to avoid. Phil was amazed when he saw something the law of the jungle should not permit: a defenseless caterpillar. Not only defenseless, but apparently living in perfect harmony with one of the most vicious kinds of ant in the neighborhood. Somehow, these innocent potential victims have persuaded the bad guys to be on their side. To investigate the relationship between ant and caterpillar, Phil set up an ant exclusion experiment. The idea was to see what would happen as new caterpillars hatched and then had to live without ants. First, he cleared the vegetation from around a series of plants so ants couldn't jump onto them. Then he covered the stems with a sort of ant-trapping glue. Finally, he removed the remaining ants, leaving the plants ant-free. Over the next year, Phil seldom found caterpillars on the ant-free plants, whereas there were always plenty of caterpillars on the plants with ants. So for some reason, these caterpillars need ants. With some close surveillance, Phil figured out what was going on: a protection racket.
What these ants are doing is they're protecting the caterpillars against enemies. They're like guard dogs, if you will. So if you can see, if I touch this stick to this ant here, it will eventually run out and perhaps there, see that thing biting me? And so what happens is that if a predator comes in to get the caterpillar, what happens is that these ants will attack it. They'll bite it and drive off the enemy.
Here's that vicious predatory wasp again. again and again, it's driven away from its intended victim by the protector ants. Finally, the confrontation ends when an ant uses its lethal sting against the wasp. Pretty good protection for the caterpillar. Now, there's no protection racket in the world without a payoff. So what's in it for the ants? The investigation moved into the lab at the Smithsonian's Panama Research Center. Phil set up a captive colony of caterpillars and ants so he could observe their behavior close up. And he managed to catch the payoff as it happened. At regular intervals, ants saunter up and start to feed on a juice produced by the caterpillars. The ants clearly find this nectar irresistible, maybe even addictive, often battling head to head over it. But we're not done yet. The plot thickens. Somehow, in the vastness of the jungle, the ants have to locate their suppliers of nectar. And Phil discovered how they do it. Each caterpillar has two small, dark rods sticking out above its head. They vibrate up and down as the caterpillar moves.
Just from watching them for a long time, it occurred to me that they might be producing a sound that was detectable by the ants themselves. And what I did is I took one of these caterpillars and examined it under a scanning electron microscope.
Magnified 1,000 times, the rods were shown to have deep rings along their length, and the caterpillar's head just under the rods was covered in jagged points.
It suggested that these could in fact be a sound-producing system or an organ, simply because it looks like a file. If I ran my finger, if it was very large, I ran my finger along it, it would produce a simple sound.
Phil set himself up in a soundproof room at the research center so he could listen in on the caterpillars. A miniature microphone was arranged to pick up any faint vibrations that his subjects might be producing.
Oh, yeah.
So far, so good. But now Phil had to see if the caterpillar sound has any effect on the ants. So next he set about creating a few silent caterpillars.
It's not a very delicate operation. As the papilla beats up and down, the real trick is trying to grab it with the forceps. And once you get it, it's like tugging out, say, a hair.
The mute caterpillars were marked with a spot of blue dye. Phil headed back into the jungle to mix these silent caterpillars in with groups of their normal rowdy companions. Over the next few months, he came back to see how the two types were getting along.
What I found is that the caterpillars that produce a call always have more ants on them than the ones that are mute. And what I conclude from this is simply that the ants are actually attracted to the call produced by the caterpillars. And of course, this translates into protection. If you're a caterpillar and you have more ants around you, you're certainly protected much better from predators than if you're a caterpillar that has fewer ants around you.
And so our jungle story of protection and payoffs has a final twist. The caterpillar siren song that makes it all work.
Our next story is about what may be the most unusual use ever made of science to solve a crime. Often, the key piece of evidence that links a suspect to a crime is something that carries a unique pattern, something that can only be found in one person or one weapon, like fingerprints. But here at the FBI in Washington, the pattern found in the tips of our fingers is just one of many kinds of fingerprints that are used to help solve crimes.
Fingerprints themselves have been used in crime busting for over 80 years.
This note already to see if there are prints on it?
Yes, I did a visual.
And nowadays, there are ways to find fingerprints on almost anything. Jim Ridgely showed me how prints that are otherwise invisible can sometimes show up under a laser beam.
Give me all the money, no alarms, no false moves, or you die. That looks very real.
The intense light of the laser can, under some circumstances, cause a fingerprint to fluoresce. So, seen through a filter that cuts down the light of the laser, the fingerprints themselves shine brightly.
Those prints, that's incredibly clear, and there were no prints on that to be seen.
The laser is just one of a dozen or so ways of spotting prints if a criminal is careless enough to leave one. And sometimes avoiding an obvious mistake can simply lead to another.
One case that really comes to mind was where a individual burglarized a residence, and he was very much aware that his fingerprints could be identified. So what he did was he took off his shoes and socks, and he put his socks over his hands and entered the residence. But the only thing was they were able to develop his footprints on the floor, and we identified him anyway. So
That's really using his noodle, right?
That's right.
Of course, finding a fingerprint is only the beginning of finding its owner. At the FBI, that search begins by marking on a computer screen the tiny details, often the end of a ridge or where a ridge divides into, that give a fingerprint its unique identity. The computer then searches for a match among the fingerprints the FBI has on file. And when you see that file, you realize why the computer is so valuable. There are over 25 million fingerprints stored away here. The computer search narrows that number down to a list of 20 or so. The final match between the crime scene and the fingerprint on file is made the old-fashioned way, by eye.
And it's not just fingerprints that can be used to link a suspect to a crime.
A gun leaves its own version of fingerprints imprinted on the head of the cartridge every time it's fired.
Now, are the marks on this cartridge unique?
Yes, the marks on on the cartridge case after firing a firearm are unique to that firearm.
As the cartridge case is slammed backward during firing, it's stamped with an imprint of tiny machining marks left from the gun's manufacturer.
And these are all cartridge cases that you've got on file, right?
That's correct.
Those marks can often link a gun with a shooting, or different shootings can be linked to each other, if only enough cartridges can be compared.
Could we see those side by side and see how they compare?
Sure, we can do that. We can get that on the screen for you.
Now, this looks like a really good match between these two.
Yeah, this is one of the
shapes
first.
look the same and everything, right?
Yeah, this is one of the first matches that were made in the drug fire system.
The FBI's new drug fire project has digitized the images of thousands of cartridges from shootings in the Washington area so that instant comparisons can be made.
Identifications are made.
So you just have to look at it. Those striations are identical as you go across the hairline there.
That's correct.
You can just.
And in the
see
year
it.
the project's been running, these gun fingerprints have helped solve over 60 shootings.
The latest version of the fingerprint to be used for identification is DNA, the stuff our genes are made of. In the last few years, hundreds of suspects have been convicted and others cleared by analyzing the unique patterns found in everyone's DNA.
Adam 231.
Radio, would you advise detectives we appear to have a 901H?
And in Phoenix, Arizona, DNA fingerprints have recently solved a grisly murder. Except here, the fingerprints weren't from a person, but from a tree. This is a recreation of what turned out to be an extraordinary investigation. It began with the discovery of the body of a young woman. With no eyewitness to her killing, the first detectives on the scene searched for physical evidence. They checked tire tracks on the road nearby, and then they got their first big break. The sound of a pager going off in the grass a few feet from the victim. 24 hours later, the pager lead was being followed up by the detective assigned to coordinate the case.
My name is Charlie Norton, and I'm a homicide investigator for the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office in Phoenix, Arizona. I've been a detective about 15 years. When I came into the case, my first assignment was to meet with the man who was determined to be the subscriber of the pager that was found at the scene.
The subscriber's name was Earl Bogan, and he immediately became the #1 suspect.
Mr. Bogan?
Yeah?
Hi, I'm Charlie Norton from the Sheriff's Office, and I'd like to talk to you about a pager. We found a pager.
But as Norton questioned Bogan, it soon became clear he wasn't the culprit. He owned the pager, but it was his son Mark who used it.
Hey, Don, how are you? Oh, Charlie.
A day later, Mark Bogan was brought in for questioning. He had a story that could account for his pager being found with the victim.
Well, it was about 10 o'clock at night, and I was looking for a phone to call some friends of mine. I wanted to go visiting, and all of a sudden, I hear this tap on the window of the phone booth. This girl came up to me and asked if she could have a ride. And I said, hey, sure, why not? I'm not doing anything. My friends weren't home, so she got in the truck, and we took off down 35th Avenue, and
Bogan admitted picking up the victim, but he claimed they'd parted company while still downtown, following a heated argument.
And she got angry and took her hand, knocked all the my things off the dashboard, and took off, opened the door and took off with my wallet. I took off after her and got my wallet back, and I just walked back to the truck, got in, and went on home.
Well, your pager is found out there at the scene where this gal was found murdered.
Well, when she must have stole my wallet, she must have grabbed my pager as well, because, you know, I didn't find it next morning, so I guess she got it.
I thought he was a pathological liar.
The detective was convinced Bogan had lost his pager in a struggle at the murder site. But Bogan's version of events was at least plausible. Knowing any such doubts would trouble a jury, Norton returned to the scene of the crime. He was hoping that the original investigation had missed some crucial piece of evidence that could prove Bogan had been there. He looked for some shoe prints or something like the pager left behind in haste. There was nothing. But then he noticed that a branch of one of the Palo Verde trees alongside the roadway was scarred with a fresh scrape. Suspecting the damage might have been caused by the murderer's vehicle, Norton, on an impulse, collected a few bean pods from the tree. He had no idea how they could be useful.
Police officers, when they go to an investigation at any scene, they collect just about everything they can find, soil samples, leaves, grass, and they hope at some time in the future it'll help them establish that their suspect was at the scene.
The next day, Norton's instinct to collect the bean pods began to pay off. Evidence technicians had been inspecting Bogan's pickup for hours, unable to find anything that could place it at the murder scene. But then, while taking an inventory of the back of the truck, their luck changed.
This seemed to be something out of the ordinary, you know, something that we needed to pay attention to.
To Detective Norton, it made sense. After the murder, Bogan's truck scraped the tree, shaking loose the bean pods. But the problem with the theory was obvious. There are tens of thousands of Palo Verde trees growing around Phoenix. The pods in Bogan's truck could have come from any one of them.
We have page after page.
It was Norton's boss who came up with the suggestion that would eventually break open the case.
What if there's a DNA test for the bean pods. And when I say a DNA test, it may be an experimental thing. You're going to have to research it. Someone could already be doing DNA testing with plant life, and we don't know it.
I thought it was a silly idea, to tell you the truth. I was vaguely familiar with DNA as it applies to criminal cases in, say, humans, for example, but I really had no experience and really didn't have any idea that there was such a thing in, as DNA in plants.
But Norton did what his boss suggested and began hunting for a scientist who might be able to use DNA to link the truck's pods with the tree at the crime scene.
Hello, Tim Hellenjaris here.
Hi, this is Charlie Norton from the Sheriff's
Tim
Office.
Hellenjaris was the 15th geneticist Norton contacted after 14 had said a DNA comparison was impossible or way too costly.
Tree up here that was scraped at the scene, and we found 2 bean pods in the back of our suspect's truck. And I want to know if it might be possible for you to do some DNA testing on the pods and see if it would come back to any particular tree.
Well, theoretically, if we analyze the DNA from the pods and from the tree, we should be able to show if they match or not. The important question would be how much variation there is between individual Palo Verde trees. And so we might need to run a few tests first just to see how different Palo Verde trees are from each other.
The geneticist's concern was that some plant species are so genetically uniform that a DNA test couldn't tell individual plants apart. So the critical question was, how unique is any one Palo Verde tree's DNA fingerprint? To find out, Detective Norton mobilized members of the Phoenix Volunteer Sheriff's Posse to collect bean pods from trees throughout the county. The posse collected 38 samples in all. And within a week, they were all in the hands of Tim Hellenjaris here at the University of Arizona in Tucson. His first task was to see if different Palo Verde trees had different DNA fingerprints. Only then could he hope to prove the pods in Mark Bogan's truck matched the tree at the scene of the crime. The analysis began by removing the seeds, which would have confused the results.
The seeds have DNA both from the mother tree and other trees that would have pollinated it, so we need to get rid of those and just use the pod material, which will only have DNA from the mother tree.
Next, the pods were dunked in liquid nitrogen, making them brittle and easy to grind up. But then Hellenjaris ran into a problem that threatened to jeopardize the entire case.
I almost quit a couple of times because we had problems extracting the DNA from the pods since they were quite woody. But when I would talk to detectives and they kept re-emphasizing how important it was, I went back and tried another procedure and then another until we finally got it to work.
The pods eventually yielded up their DNA. But weeks of work still lay ahead. The task was to find within each tree's DNA a few small pieces that would be different from tree to tree, so that when these fragments were run through an electric sorter, the trees could be easily compared. Here's what a DNA fingerprint looks like. A series of bands that light up orange under ultraviolet light. Using these fingerprints, Hellenjaris was able to make the critical comparison. The 2 pods found in the truck matched each other, and they also matched perfectly the pods taken from the tree at the crime scene. On the other hand, every other tree had a completely different DNA fingerprint. It was just what Charlie Norton had been hoping for.
I couldn't believe it. I thought it was, just a miracle, really. First of all, of the thought that he could do it. And then the added elation that this is going to make our case against Mark.
On May 27, 1993, Mark Bogan was found guilty of first-degree murder. It was the first time the DNA fingerprint of a plant was used in a criminal trial. Undoubtedly, it won't be the last.